This has been very obvious to me for a while, but I haven't really taken the time to talk about it because it's just one of those things where I'm just like, okay, let's wait for some more evidence first. Let's wait a minute to talk about it. I've talked a little bit about like how ridiculous it is of YouTubers to believe that like the June Nintendo Direct would be the last Nintendo Switch Direct ever, right? So many of them came out and said that, like to try and like curb enthusiasm for new Nintendo Switch releases. They were saying that like, oh, I'm not excited for this. There's going to be nothing good at the show, and then like they blew our minds with lots of really great stuff. And what's more, over the past several days, it has become apparent that they have more things up their sleeve for this year. You know, the legendary Starfy released out of nowhere. I know Beyond Good and Evil HD launched on the eShop or something, and they have that mysterious smiling man, Emio. They seem to be putting out like their own horror game. Like I have no idea what that is. I have no idea what it's about. You know, I've made jokes about how, ooh, I'm Emio, but like, really, we don't know what it is, right? Like it's we don't know if Nintendo's developing it in house or if it's like some blooper team thing people are saying, or if it's like I don't know, like even if it's a new IP or not. Like again, it seems that way, but we don't know exactly for sure. Like, but like, anyway, like the fact that like we've gotten so many crazy announcements over the past several weeks, uh, I think really indicates that I was completely 100% right that we are going to be getting another Nintendo Direct this year, and it is going to be primarily focused on Switch software. Right. People keep seething that like Emio's not coming to Switch, Metroid Prime 5's not coming to Switch. Like people have tried pulling those stunts, but the reality is that there's no indication of that. They are 100% like Switch releases, right? So with that in mind, seeing all these new releases come out of nowhere, like yeah, we're gonna have to get like an actual trailer of this stuff. We're gonna have to get like some kind of coverage or some kind of idea. Like we're gonna have to like see more from Brothership and Echoes of Wisdom, right? Like again, it's gonna be a repeat of what we got last year in which like they showed the Princess Peach Showtime first look, and then they showcased like the actual game trailer, right? Like we are going to get another Nintendo Direct this year, and I expect we're going to see quite a few other games that have been that are going to release on Nintendo Switch, right? Like I am expecting quite a few like niche properties. Like again, it's really interesting kind of looking back on it, but like my big criticism for Nintendo the past several years is that like I felt like they weren't taking enough risks, right? Like I felt like they didn't have like a whole lot of like smaller projects like they used to. I felt like they were playing it safe, right? They weren't being experimental or weird, and that no longer feels the case. Like feels like it's the case. Nintendo Switch Sports has really impressed me. WarioWare Move It was great. We have like Emio looks great. Like again, like they're bringing back like a lot of older stuff, right? Starfy. Like again, I'm very, very, very happy with them right now. And again, I imagine the Pretendos are seething because if we get another Nintendo Direct this year, that's going to kick back the expected Switch 2 release date by another 6 months. Like they're gonna have to deal with the fact that they aren't going to see like a boost of interest in their pathetic YouTube channels because of Switch 2 coverage. So again, like all they're gonna have to do is just like clickbait about Emio, like ooh, we made me scared, but it seems as if like the Switch 2 is not coming soon, and that the Switch is still has a lot of life left in it, right? This is a highly successful Nintendo console, the most successful video game console ever. Like Nintendo would be insane to get rid of this, and yeah, it's really interesting to see people like react this way about Emio. Like I know Sean Malmstrom has been like going off on his shit, like pretending that Nintendo doesn't produce new IPs. Well, what do you have to say about Emio, Sean? Like, like are you gonna downplay that? Just like you downplayed Mario and Luigi, like just like you downplayed Echoes of Wisdom. Like again, like it's reaching the point where like I think these people cannot cannot maintain their credibility, right? They're really going to pretend to be hardcore enthusiasts of Nintendo, that they play a bunch of games that come out, that they're big on the console, and yet somehow like don't know like Starfy. They have no experience with it at all. They don't know anything about it, right? Like, I never played the game growing up, and yet like I still know what it is. I saw a bunch of ads for it back in the day, right? Um, Nintendo put a lot of effort into marketing Starfy in the mid 2000s, right? So I at least recognize the character. Like, are you really gonna tell me that like, oh, these re-releases of Starfy, they're not gonna do anything? No. I think it's safe to say that Nintendo has made Nintendo Switch Online a success, and the big like hate campaign against it has completely collapsed, right? And that was like the big like Nintendo hate thing back in the day, right? Like, oh, Nintendo Switch Online is gonna fail. Game Pass is going to reign supreme. Xbox is gonna win the generation. And what does Xbox do? They raise the prices and get rid of the day one releases. Oof. People don't want to admit like what a big blunder Xbox has made over the past generation. People don't want to admit that PlayStation has made blunders this past generation. Like they're really in this mindset right now that like GTA 6 is gonna save us all. Like they're gonna come up and they're gonna defeat Nintendo once and for all. It's not gonna happen, right? Like I think GTA 6 is gonna be a really big turning point when it comes to gaming culture, where it becomes very obvious that like the biggest video game franchise on the planet, Grand Theft Auto, is not going to be enough to destroy Nintendo, right? Like it's going to be back in the day, like that was the big reason that like everybody I knew didn't want to own a GameCube. So I was, oh, GTA's not on it. But now, like that's not an excuse, right? Now, like there are so many other popular games on Nintendo consoles. Like it seems like PlayStation is is like the one that's like overly relying on Grand Theft Auto, right? Like you're only buying a PlayStation and an Xbox for Grand Theft Auto 6, and then you're never gonna buy anything else on the platform, right? Like that's not a healthy ecosystem, and especially since Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to have like a massive backlash in among fans, because like it's just going to be like a worse version of what we've already gotten, right? There's not going to be any notable improvements over Grand Theft Auto 6 over 5, right? It is going to be very, 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 very obvious that Rockstar Games have stopped getting better. I saw people try to make excuses for Red Dead Redemption 2, but it's not going to stick with Grand Theft Auto 6. And the instant that Grand Theft Auto 6 falls, the instant that like people start getting bored of Call of Duty and like all these tired rehash properties, right? Like the entire thing collapses, right? And then without PlayStation and Xbox subsidizing PC gaming, Nintendo is going to essentially control the video game industry. Like they are going to have the monopoly. Don't try to tell me that mobile is going to like rise from the ashes and take over, because nobody cares about mobile. Like Nintendo won, right? Like this is like the reality that people refuse to admit to in this day and age, is that like people are recognizing iconic video game characters through Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. When people see Kazuya in Tekken 8, they just go like, "Oh, it's that guy from Smash. I would like to play his game on Nintendo, but unfortunately, it's not on my platform. So I'll just wait for it to come out." No longer are they going to have this mindset that like, oh, PlayStation is where you get the real games. It's where you get the games that aren't made by Nintendo. Like again, that narrative is has completely fallen apart, and we are going to see that slowly play out over the next several years. It is going to be glorious. I am very much looking forward to the end of PlayStation, Xbox, and PC.